Hello, good afternoon. So I think I'm going to keep doing my meetings at 1 p.m. just in case if I decide to schedule myself for work. Except for my Wednesday live streams will still be at 7:15 in the morning. Just need to keep reminding myself no Wednesdays for morning shift. Um, and thank you uh, for dropping in, Crystal Lagringa. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a blessed day as well. Lily, thank you for always being here for me and supporting my channel. Um, yes, we are twins, Truth, truthful twins, um, identical at that. So I would really like to go over the rules. Um, Please, no judgment in here. Please be kind to each other. And not everyone that comes in here is a recovering alcoholic or anything. Um, there's my support for doing my meetings and doing the adventure part of my channel as well. So please know that they might be here to help someone that they know who is still suffering and don't know where they can get a meeting and so on and so forth. So please be mindful of that before you make assumptions. But if you're a newcomer, an old timer, or in between, welcome. Today is August 4th or August 5th. That's right. Kids went back to school today. Not my kids. My kids are adults. But so it is an AA meeting today. We are in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we are reading um, Alcoholics Anonymous number 3 on page 156 or 186. Sorry. Um, so I'm Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Bless you. And now I will read the 12 steps. My eyes are a little fuzzy because I've been wearing my glasses all day. I worked this morning, so. Okay, the 12 steps are in the contents of your 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book. So that's where I get them from. I know them by heart, but I always get tongue tied. So, 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 4. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. I'm tired, you guys. Ugh. Cappuccino because I didn't even get a full cup of coffee this morning. Husband woke me up at 5 o'clock and it's like, we gotta go. So I was like, oh no. I made it on time though. Okay, so now we're gonna read from The Next Thing on page 186. If you don't have a book, no worries. I'm gonna read it anyways. If you want books, I'm not affiliated with Amazon, but they do have them. Go to a local meeting. There are meetings everywhere. So you can possibly get one from someone at your AA meeting that you go to. That's how I got my first book. Was my sponsor gave me a book, and I just happened to do the same thing when I got my sponsees. I gave them a book, or even family or friends that I know that are suffering, and I can give them this gift that I got for free. And so I will give them a book and say, hey, here's a book, read it when you want to. So, but anyways, hello, Lucretia. Thank you for coming. So we're on 186 and we're starting at the next thing. The next thing they wanted to know was if I thought I could quit on my own accord without any help. If I could just walk out of the hospital and never take another drink. If I could, that was wonderful. That was just fine. And they would very much appreciate a person who had that kind of power, but they were looking for a man who knew he had a problem and knew he couldn't handle it himself and needed outside help. This is man or woman, every aspect of life. It's for everybody. So it's easier to read with he or she than what it is anything else. So it's just the way the book is written. Excuse me. Okay. The next thing they wanted to know was if I believed in a higher power. I had no problem there because I had never actually ceased to believe in God and had tried lots of times to get help but hadn't succeeded. Next, they wanted to know, would I be willing to go to this higher power and ask for help calmly and without any reservations. They left this with me to think over, and I lay there on the hospital bed and went back over and reviewed my life. I thought of what liquor had done to me, the opportunities that I had discarded, the the abilities that had been given me, and how I had wasted them. And I finally came to the conclusion that if I didn't want to quit, I certainly ought to want to. And that I was willing to do anything in the world to stop drinking. I was willing to admit to myself that I had hit bottom, that I had gotten hold of something. Sorry, the dog is bothering me. That I had gotten hold of something that I didn't know how to handle by myself. So after reviewing these things and realizing what liquor had cost me, I went to this higher power that to me was God without any reservations, and admitted that I could completely, or that I was completely powerless over alcohol, and that I was willing to do anything in the world to get rid of the problem. In fact, I admitted that from then on I was willing to let God take over instead of me. Each day I would try to find out what his will was and try to follow that. Stop. Rather than trying to get him to always agree that the things I thought up for myself were the things best for me. No. So when they came back, I told them. One of the fellows, I think it was Doc, said, "Well, you want to quit?" I said, "Yes, Doc. I would like to quit at least for 5, 6, or 8 months until I get things straightened up and begin to get the respect of my wife and some other people back and get my finances fixed up and so on." And they both laughed very heartily and said, "That's better than you've been doing, isn't it?" Which, which of course was true. They did. "We've got some bad news for you. It was bad news for us, and it will probably be bad news for you whether you quit 6 days, months, or years. If you go out and take a drink or two, you'll end up in this hospital tied down, just like you have been in these past 6 months. You are an alcoholic. As far as I know, that was the first time I had ever paid any attention to that word. I figured I was just a drunk. And they said, "No, you have a disease, and it doesn't make any difference how long you do without it. After a drink or two, you'll end up just like you are now." That certainly was real disheartening news at the time. The next question they asked was, "You can quit 24 hours, can't you?" I said, "Sure, yes. Anybody can do that for 24 hours." They said, "That's what we're talking about. Just 24 hours at a time." That sure did take a load off of my mind. Every time I start thinking about drinking, I would think of the long, dry years ahead without having a drink. But this idea of 24 hours, that it was up to me from then on, was a lot of help. At this point, the editors intruded just long enough to supplement Bill D's account. that of the man on the bed with that of Bill W., the man who sat by the side of the bed. Says Bill W., 19 years ago last summer, Dr. Bob and I saw him, Bill D., first for the first time. Bill lay on his hospital bed and looked at us in wonder. 2 days before this, Dr. Bob had said to me, "If you and I are going to stay sober, we had better get busy straight away." Bob called Akron City Hospital and asked for the nurse on the receiving ward. He explained that he and a man from New York had a cure for alcoholism. Did she have an alcoholic customer on whom it would be tried? Knowing Bob of old, she jokingly replied, "Well, doctor, I suppose you already tried it yourself." Oh, my neck. Yes, she did. He did have a customer, a dandy. He had just arrived in DT, had black, blacked the eyes of two nurses, and now they had him strapped down tight. Would this one do? After prescribing medicines, Dr. Bob ordered, "Put him in a private room. We'll be down as soon as he clears up." Bill didn't seem too impressed. Looking sadder than ever, he wearily ventured, "Well, this is wonderful for you fellows, but it can't be for me. My case is so terrible that I'm scared to go out of this hospital at all. You don't have to sell me religion either. I was at one time a deacon in the church, and I still believe in God, but I guess he doesn't believe much in me." Then Dr. Bob said, "Well, Bill, maybe you'll feel better tomorrow. Wouldn't you like to see us again?" "Sure I would," replied Bill. "Maybe it won't do any good, but I'd like to see you both anyhow. You certainly know what you are talking about." Looking in later, we found Bill with his wife, Henrietta. Eagerly, he pointed to us, saying, "These are the fellows I told you about. They are the ones who understand." Bill then related how he had lain awake nearly all night, down in the pit of his depression. New hope had somehow been born. The thought flashed through his mind, "If they can do it, I can do it." Over and over he said this to himself. Finally, out of his hope, there burst conviction. Now he was sure. Then came a great joy. A linked peace stole over him as and he slept. Before our visit was over, Bill suddenly turned to his wife and said, "Go fetch my clothes, dear. We're going to get up and get out of here." Bill D. walked out of that hospital a free man, never to drink again. AA's #1 group date. From that very day, Bill D. now continues his story. It was in the next 2 or 3 days after I had first met Doc and Bill that I finally came to a decision to turn my will over to God and to go along with this program the best that I could. Their talk and action had instilled in me a certain amount of confidence. Although I was not too absolutely certain, I wasn't afraid that the program wouldn't work, but I still was doubtful whether I would be able to hang on to the program. But I did come to a conclusion that I was willing to put everything I had into it with God's power and that I wanted to do just that. As soon as I had done that, I did feel a great release. I knew I had a helper whom I could rely upon, who wouldn't fail me. If I could stick to him and listen, I would make it. I remember when the boys came back, I told them I have gone to this higher power and I have told him that I am willing to put his word first above everything. I have already done it, and I am willing to do it again here in the presence of you. Or I am willing to say it any place, anywhere in the world from now on and not be ashamed of it. And this certainly gave me a lot of confidence and seemed to take a lot of the burden off of me. I remember telling them, too, that it was going to be awful tough because I did some other things, smoked cigarettes and played penny ant poker and sometimes bet on horse races. And they said, don't you think you're having more trouble with this drinking than with anything else at the present time? Don't you believe you are going to have all you can do to get rid of it? Yes, I said, reluctantly. I probably will, they said. Let's forget about those other things, that is. Try to eliminate them all at once, or trying to eliminate them all at once and concentrate on the drink. Of course, we had talked over quite a number of the failings that I had and made a involuntary oh sort of an inventory, which wasn't too difficult because I had an awful lot of things wrong that were very apparent to me. Then they said, there's one thing, you should go out and take this program to somebody else who needs it and wants it. Hello, Shannon. Hello, Boombox Plants. Of course, by this time, my business was practically non existent. I didn't have any naturally for quite a time. I wasn't too well physically either. It took me a year and a half to get to feeling physically well, and it was rather tough, but I soon found folks whose friendship I had once had, and I found after I had been sober for quite some little time that these people began to act like they had in previous years before I had gotten so bad, so that I didn't pay too awful much attention to financial gains. I spent most of my time trying to get back these friendships and to make some recommence towards my wife, who I had hurt a lot. I'd stop there. Woo. This is why I do what I'm doing. This is why. Because being able to have this gift given to me and have me accept it for myself, I have moved on. I've passed the drink. I don't want to drink. I have already done the been sober for a year and then went back out. So I know exactly what it's like to start over. Because when you first do this and you don't have the way of accepting a gift to be able to give it, it's just a setup for yourself. And I have realized that since being a part of AA, because when I went for that year sober, I didn't go to AA. Not everybody around me was sober. And so I just went back to it. And it's true, you just go right back down to where you had been, back to the bottom. It took no time at all to go back there. I mean, it was fast. And when my friend called me and said, let's meet up at our hometown and go to a meeting, I've known this person since I was 16 years old. I never knew he was an alcoholic. Never knew that he had any other problems because it had been so long that since I had talked to them that I plan to go to AA and meet him there. I am so very thankful that he invited me to a meeting because I did receive the gift. And you're gonna go in and you're gonna be like, if you're just starting out, you're gonna be like, I don't know about, saying my name or all of this stuff. And I I did that. I skipped a lot of meetings because I was uncomfortable. I didn't really want to talk to anybody. But for my second meeting, I already had a sponsor. She's still my sponsor. I have two sponsors now. And I have like one, two, three, four, five, 4 or 5 sponsees now. And I'm happy to tell anybody, shout it from the rooftop, I'm a recovering alcoholic because recovering means that I'm no longer in that way of thought. I am no longer drinking. And yes, it's true, 24 hours a day. Because that's what we have to do. We can go 24 hours a day. That's easy. That is a cakewalk. And as long as we keep thinking 24 hours, we'll keep going. I used to always, when I was 6 months sober, I was like, well, I'm coming up on a year. I hope I make it. I hope I make it. I was doubting myself, and my sponsor always told me, you will make it. You will make it. You just have to want. You have to want it. You have to work your steps. You have to uh, just make your life, leave that part out. Leave the alcohol back there. That is back there. And do your steps and move to where you're using your steps in every single day. And I am I'm blessed to be 8 years and 9 months sober. Very blessed. And I'm blessed to be here and share ways that I have found that help me and give you who are still looking for the ways of finding that help and how you can find it and the books you can read and the apps you can use. And yes, today's society, it's in an app. You can literally find it everywhere because there are alcoholics everywhere throughout the whole world. And that is a big part of why I flipped my channel to where I do AA meetings and I do adventures because that's me. My life revolves around my sobriety, number one and foremost, and then doing some outdoor adventuring because I love the outdoors. And I got sober living in the outdoors. And it has been a long ride, a long, long, long ride. And it's not perfect every day. It's never going to be perfect every day. You're going to have those bad days. You're going to have the work down days, where you don't feel like doing anything. And like Bill said, deep down in depression, I had an epiphany when I first got sober on my own. I fell down and I cracked my eyelid open, and my husband had threatened to leave, and him and my son left. I didn't know where they went, and so of course I was drunk, and I went to start making dinner, and my sister stopped by, and then she left. Well, I ended up on the floor with a bloody eye, and it was just a whole mess. And I admitted that I had depression because I never really wanted to say I had that. I didn't want to say I have depression. I was more ashamed of that than being an alcoholic at that point. And I got put on meds, and that worked for a long time. And then I moved to a different state, and I went back to drinking and taking my meds, which is a stupid idea, but at that time you're like, whatever. It doesn't do anything to me. I'm still functioning. But that was stupid. Really stupid. Shouldn't have done that. But then I got my first job and I was camp hosting. And this is after I started going to AA. But I moved out to that area and I was hosting in the campgrounds I grew up around. And it was fun. It was great to be away from the alcohol. So I did go and buy myself a 6-pack of O'Doul's, which is zero alcohol, supposedly. And then I went to another meeting. I never drank those O'Doul's. I gave them away. I was like, I am not even chancing it. I don't use mouthwash with alcohol. I don't take cough medicine with alcohol. I completely blocked out all alcohol. I wouldn't listen to music with it in there. I wouldn't go into a bar to even eat or listen to friends karaoke. I just completely removed myself from that. Not even going to the grocery aisle with the alcohol in it. That's how desperate I was to stay sober. I did not want to go back. I'd already done it once and didn't want to do it again. And this has been helpful for me to share with you guys my story of my alcoholic days and my sobriety days, and just be positive about it because it is a life thing, you know? Just because you go 6 months doesn't mean you're when if you go back out and drink again, it doesn't mean that you're not going to end up back at the bottom like right away. Because that's exactly what happens. Exactly what happens. And that's something that I'm not willing to give up. This is this is my passion right here to spread awareness of Alcoholics Anonymous, to spread awareness that there is help. You just have to want it. You have to want it, not somebody else and not for somebody else. I can't stress that enough because you can't change anybody else. You have to change yourself. That's all we can do is just change us, ourselves, and help the next one that asks for your help. And that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. If somebody, if I go to a meeting and somebody has a question for me, asks me how I got sober, I tell them. How I stay sober, I tell them. I'm not ashamed of me now. I'm not ashamed of being a recovering alcoholic. This is my life passion to stay sober. I cannot go back, cannot and will not go back. It's not for me. I'm happier even when I'm crying because I am sober and I'm feeling my real emotions and I'm going through life day to day sober. We have today, we're not promised that we can keep going, but we have to be strong enough for ourselves to know that we can. And I will be doing a Saturday live stream from Long Beach, Washington. Um, I'm not sure how the service is going to be there, but I will be doing a live stream sharing more of my story. I'm not going to bring my book because it is vacation, but I want you guys to know that yes, I still practice my sobriety on vacation. Um, and I went to a meeting, or not a meeting, but a meetup, a YouTube meetup, my first one with my twin sister. First, everything for the two of us by ourselves. And so we went to a YouTube meetup in down in Southern Oregon, and there was a lot of alcohol. A guy turned around with what's he got? My old go-to whiskey. And I stopped dead in my tracks and I said, nope, I'm a recovering alcoholic. No, I can't drink that. And that was that. And I was not asked if I wanted another drink. So that is wonderful. And all of them are part of my channel or part of channels that I watch and participate in the chats. And it's a wonderful community, and we all are here for each other just the same as I'm here for you guys. Um, so I'm going to be doing that live stream no matter what. It will be at 1 o'clock p.m. I will rearrange schedule if I have to for everything else, but not for my AA. The only way I will is if I don't have signal. So, and I do AA, or I do uh, my adventure live stream on Wednesday mornings at 7:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so if you want to be notified of the next upcoming meetings and my adventures, please hit subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified of my next live streams and upcoming videos. I just uploaded a video of my son. He competed in a log cutting competition. Um, he has not competed for 12 years and he did pretty good. I am proud of him for it. So check that video out. So I'm going to read the Daily Reflections, which is an app you can get on your phone. It will tell you, you put in your sobriety birthday date. It'll tell you the years, the months, the day, and then it'll tell you in days. Read your daily reflection. You get your big book and your 12 steps and living sober all right here. You can listen to it if you would like. Literature, online meeting finder, everything you can find here. Um, Itch my ear. Emotional balance. This is for September 5th. May direct amends to such people wherever possible. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 83. When I survey my drinking days, I recall many people whom my life touched casually, but whose days I troubled through my anger and sarcasm. These people are untraceable, and direct amends to them are not possible. The only amends I can make to those untraceable individuals, the only changes for the better I can offer, are direct amends made to other people whose path briefly crossed mine. Courtesy and kindness regularly practiced help me to live in emotional balance and peace with myself. Yep. What I did with my step four was really hard. I wrote it all of my stuff down and I had my sponsor look at it because after all, I didn't know, I didn't know what to do with it. And some of my stuff that I thought I needed to make amends for was things that I had no control over, things that weren't my place to make amends for it. I wish that he would have made his amends. He died an alcoholic. He never quit drinking. He was not great for me or my sister. So just with that, that amends was not able to be done. But I do um share my story about that. I share my story about my alcoholism, my alcohol drunken days, and and that's what I do to help the next person. And Shannon, I met at work, same as when I was camp hosting. I met one of my other sponsors, and she's still one of my best friends. And she's old enough to be my grandma, but she is like my best friend. And so, but it's because I am open about being a recovering alcoholic and saying, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and you never know who's going to hear you. And you know what? I'm quite proud to say it. That is in this chapter of this book. Exactly what I should be doing with this awesome gift, helping the next person. Shannon couldn't get to a meeting, and I help her out. That's my duty. That's that's an awesome thing for me because I get to help her and I get to help all of you with my biggest, most passionate thing in my life. And that's a plus. That is a plus that is bigger than all the minus. When I have those bad days, I have to always remember, but I am still blessed for today. When I get up, when I'm at work, when I get irritated, all of it, I have to remember to remind myself it's a blessed day because I'm sober. And once you get past all of the beginning parts of your sobriety, you start using your steps in everything you do in every single day, and it changes you. It changes everything good, everything bad starts to fade, and then you start remembering what you need to do when you're having those bad days. Remember you're blessed because you have today. You are here. You're sober, getting sober, staying sober. It doesn't matter. We are living day to day, not weeks, not months, because we have today. And I just want people to know, no matter where you are in the world, on a ship, on a plane, on a bus, anywhere, you can get a meeting right here on YouTube. You can get a meeting, an actual meeting, just about everywhere. Um, After all, like I said, we're not the only ones. There are a lot of us. And while we're out there doing those drinking days, it's like you're the only one batting, you know, you're the only one, but you're not. You're not the only one that's out there drinking and having those thoughts of, oh, when am I going to get the next one? And then maybe sometime someone will touch your heart just by saying, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and you can be too. You can be too. You might not think you can. You just have to want it bad enough. And you can keep going, and you can be very strong every day, 24 hours. And I waited until I was like 3 years or 4 years sober to get my 24-hour coin. I had never got one. But yeah, pretty amazing. I am so happy to be part of AA. and be able to share, help, communicate. And I need to have an actual AA meeting where we get together and, you know, more than just me talking. But yeah, we all are busy these days. I don't work with Shannon anymore. I'm in a different building, and so I don't get to see her very often. And I learned something new today. I was in dispatch at work. Never done that before. Like, oh, it was rather boring. All I did was sit there and watch people come in. I was like, well, this is it. I'm really bored. But hey, I have a job. I'm proud to be out there working because it helps my husband out. And yeah, it gives me something to do, you know, gives me something to do with my time than sitting here being bored. So, if anybody has any questions, uh, put it in the comments if you would like, and I will. I always get my notifications for comments, so I will answer them there um, to my best ability. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day and keep being sober. And Shannon, you have my number. You can call me anytime you'd like, even if you need a ride and it's late. You know what I'm talking about. I love you guys. You guys give me so much happiness with being here and being part of the meeting. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and do the serenity prayer and relax before I sometime today have to go get my husband from work. And I hope you guys have a great, wonderful day. And maybe a day of quiet because children are at school now. Um, but yeah. So please, like I said, if you have a question, leave a comment in the comments below after this uploads. And just know that I'm here um, and willing to like invite anybody up here that even if they don't want their picture, but I know who they are, I can have them come up and share part of their story if they'd like to. So, um, but anyways, I love you guys. You're beautiful. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. I love you guys. Be safe out there. Be kind. See you tomorrow on Adventures.